sit down and say thank you, just not for what, but just say thank you. Or you see something beautiful, you hear beautiful music, or food, whatever, and you think, wow, I can only enjoy that because I have a body. And the sentence that turned me around was Anni in Kopan, my first course, The Kindness of Your Mother, which was, my mother wrote me a letter, you were such a horrible child, I'm not your mother anymore. I was happy. You see what a horrible person, what a horrible daughter I am. But we were able to, thanks to Buddhism, thanks to that one sentence. So what you were saying, yeah, sometimes it needs just one sentence and all the rest, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter, it's for nothing, but it doesn't matter. Anni said, kindness of your mother. If your mother would have left you alone just like 24 or 36 hours as a baby, you would surely have died. I thought, like, shit, this is true. I didn't like to hear that. But I didn't like to hear that. I didn't have to like to hear that. But I needed to hear it. And slowly, I hated these meditations of kindness of the mother. But because, top of it, I became a nun very quickly, I had to lead these meditations. So then, of course, you have to be somehow credible. You can't just... So I had to work with it. And in one retreat, I wasn't even thinking about my mom. I was doing some tantric Vajrayogini or something. All of a sudden, I understood how lonely she must be because she does not care about anybody else. And I started sobbing like a baby. And from then on, I was able to accept her the way she was. Like, listen to her and not go. She says, I like red. I say, I like white. Like this. But I see so many conflicts between parents and children. And children who have not been harmed in a bad way. I haven't been harmed. She just wasn't interested in us. That was all, me and my brother. So, whether we like it or not, our parents are the most important people in our life. Without them, we wouldn't have met the Dharma maybe, because you met the Dharma with this body. Because you would have had a very happy childhood, maybe you were absolutely not interested in doing spiritual practices. It's changing now a little bit, because before I came to Israel, we had a class reunion, which I usually don't go because I was, So, because also I don't hear well, and then everybody talks at the same time, and then I don't understand what they're saying. So, when I went, maybe 30 years ago, I'd just become a nun, and I went, because I thought, maybe they're interested in what I'm doing. They were all, life then was still kind of okay. In Switzerland, everything was going well. They were all either finishing their studies as lawyers and doctors. It was a very good school I went to. And so they looked at me kind of a little bit with pity, coming dressed like this and saying, well, it's very nice what you're doing, but I don't need these things. I'm happy. And also what was interesting, I was the only one not eating meat already then. I was the only one they had to order a special menu because there was a common dinner or something. Now, they ask me questions and they tell me about their divorce and what shall I do and this and that. I'm not kind of saying, now you see that it's helpful to do these things, but also it has become much more popular. But that's not what I rejoice the most about. More than maybe out of we were maybe 20, maybe 2 ate meat. All the rest, I don't eat meat anymore, not so much, and they chose but there was a vegetarian menu on the menu, but before you had to ask especially. So I thought, okay, so maybe now it's more interesting. But when everything goes well, there is no interest in doing spiritual practices. So you see, when your parents are very kind and you do a very good job and you don't have mental problems and everything goes well, why would you go meditate? Because if you practice meditation seriously, it's difficult. You have to give up on certain things.
And it's not pleasant because I said it's all your garbage coming up. And what is really nice about vegetarianism, I'm looking at Giddy because it's so much in his heart also, this stopping to eat animals. Please do. You know, they also like to live. We had one farmer though, who has become a farmer. So she says, well, in New Zealand, she lives in New Zealand, and she said, well, if everybody thinks like you, what are we going to do? And then she laughed and she said, anyway, the children don't want to take the farm. So it will be okay, I think, until we die, people will still eat meat and then it doesn't matter. So like that. But what is happening in Switzerland maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, Swiss say, you talk about sustainability, so they called it Swiss sustainability or something like that. So many restaurants for one day did not serve meat. And it was an official thing to make people aware of one could. And I had done that when I had the restaurant. It was like once a month, no meat. And my father said, "You're totally crazy. You will lose your customers." I said, "I don't care." You know. So I thought when I saw this, I thought, wow. Other people now, many restaurants take this up and they think it's a good thing. I was very happy reading the article that 2 weeks ago, I think, in Switzerland, one Sunday, in most of the restaurants, no meat. So if you're a farmer, I'm so sorry, but you can, also grow vegetables. Now, if you, I mean, they're worried, it's their livelihood. We also have to think about them. Anyway, so coming back to your parents, they are the most important people in your life, whether you like it or not. So if you cannot honor, at least, understand that this body that is not your body. It comes from your parents. If your mom would have been like me and said, "Oh no, thank you, I don't want any children." Yeah. So I'm not unhappy not having children, by the way. Don't feel sorry for me. It's okay. I never had to wish to have children. So it's much better that I didn't have any. Maybe it's some genes that I learned from my mom. I don't know. Because when I asked her, "Why did you have children?" she said, "Well, a marriage without children is like a soup without salt." And then I said, "But you didn't eat your soup. You didn't care about us." "Yeah, but you didn't lack anything." And it's true. We were the most envied people in children because we were quite rich. Because Dad, he wanted to earn a lot of money, so he earned it. So we always had the newest ski boots, newest bicycles, newest, the first ones to have these tape recorders. We had everything, the swimming pool. So my mom said, "Well, no, what? You have everything." We had everything she wanted. She wanted comfort and luxury. And she couldn't, she couldn't think that one would want something more. And she was happy. She was not an unhappy person. My dad was very happy because he earned a lot of money. I mean, he was too stingy to spend it. So they were a very good couple. He earned it, he spent it. I'm not joking. I mean, that's why it worked, because like this. But they lived separately. They didn't live together. So, my alcoholism, I could blame it on my parents because we were very often alone in that big house. Me and my brother, we didn't have servants or anything, or like nannies or au pair girls like they have in the French part of Switzerland, because we Swiss Germans, we go as 15-year-olds to the French part to learn French. And that's what I did. At 15 years old, I had to look after 4 children. No wonder I don't want any now. Because this is what it is. I said in an absorb. All of a sudden it dawned on me. Why did I never have the wish to have children? Because I was in England, in Rome, and in the French part. I was an au pair girl. And I had to look after difficult children without being attached to them. As a very young teenager, basically. And I think that did it. I thought, oh no, thank you. But there's enough people in the world. The world does not suffer because I'm not putting children in the world. But if you have children, it's wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful to have children because they create a lot of pain in you also and worries. But these children are able to bring you to the spot where your almost unconditional love is sitting. Almost. It's still equal, right? Because it's my child. But that one child, which you say is yours, I'm not sure. It could have been exchanged in the hospital. No, we don't know. Nobody ever makes DNA tests with your own children, unless there is a, oh, maybe. Yeah. So, but from your mind, your I is my child, isn't it? So, and that spot, wow, that must be so beautiful, which I was never able to touch that one. I touch it for many, many beings, but not just for one. Yeah, so but it's okay. So actually, why we practice Buddhism, or why one does these meditations and studies and all this, is in order to have an open heart towards all sentient beings. Now, Zopa, you wanted to say something, so please come here and tell me what you wanted to say. If you still want to say, I don't understand when you're back there.
Sound.
Doubt.
Sound.
Down?
Sound. Your sound, your...
Oh, I'm down. Yeah, okay. Okay.
The sound goes back.
Okay.
Okay. And I also have hearing.
Why don't you come here?
Because I cannot sit on the floor.
Because you what?
Cannot sit on the ground.
No, you can take a chair.
No, I like to shave.
Yeah, right, okay. Okay, yeah, I know it's unfortunate in here because the acoustic is made not for loudspeakers.
Good now.
Huh?
It's good now.
It's good now, yeah, thank you. So this is the problem, it's not, and it's not, well, it's not a concert hall with the loudspeakers put where they should be and things like that. Okay, yeah, so sorry, I should have been more insisted and say, no, I don't want to say something, I just want to say that I can't hear you. Okay?
I tried.
Yeah. No, you didn't. You only raised up your hand. That was it.
No, she said it's technical.
Huh?
She tried.
She tried once.
She said it's technical.
She tried once, not enough.
Yeah.
That's with the spiritual practice. Okay. Okay, so so we were supposed to talk about healthy states of mind a bit also, right? How you develop healthy states of mind. You can develop them, and as the Dalai Lama said very clearly this morning, you have to work on them. You have to develop them. You're not really there, and you can develop them to their fullest potential. And we call these, it's not so many, I mean, it's many positive minds. We have, I think, I shouldn't go there because I don't remember, and I don't know where to find it on the tablet. 11 positive mental factors there is. Maybe we can try to patch them together. Is it on here? 11 mental positive factors. Okay, first one is faith. People don't like that word because faith. Well, don't write it down. I probably won't be able to give you all 11. So we have to exchange faith for trust. It's the same thing. Come on. But so then you have to develop trust. Now, these 11 mental factors, now the 16 guidelines are for a happy life. These 11 positive mental factors are to lead you to enlightenment. Not just a happy life now. This is to lead you out of samsara, so that you're able to eliminate all your negative emotions plus all the wrong views that samsaric beings have. As I said, are beings who have this dualistic view. I am here and whatever is out there is real. It's not just a projection of my mind. Right? These are samsaric beings. Okay. So you need, in order to develop something, you need methods. You need guidance. Yeah, like, how many of you were born with the knowledge of how to meditate? Probably nobody. I know one baby who sat on the mother's belly after coming out and sat in full meditation posture. I mean, she told us the story, and I do believe her. And then it was recognized as Sina's reincarnation. So yeah, it happened, and no pain, absolutely no pain. It just went flooch, and that was it. And she said, you know, the baby almost died because he never cried. So then I forgot to feed him. I don't know what happened to Alexandre. That was his name. I met him when he was 4 or 5. They wanted, because reincarnation also, you know, they wanted to put him in ropes. He started screaming his head off and fighting it. It was in Kippur in 91. I don't know what happened to him, but that's what she said. He came out and sat in full lotus posture. And there are some children that sit in full lotus very spontaneously, very young. You know, but they really take up their legs, so you might have seen that. So that's probably imprints from past lives. But otherwise, none of us is born knowing how to meditate, where to place the mind, what to do. So we learn it from somebody. Actually, everything we know is not our knowledge. We learn it from somebody. If nobody would have instructed us, we couldn't even walk on 2 legs. We would still be trying to go on 4 legs, and we would, you know, eat with our hands. And yeah, do we recognize that? So then there's no point being arrogant about your knowledge. Being grateful that somebody instructed you, that is a very good thing. Yeah? So coming back to faith and trust. So when you hear Buddhist teachings, now it's about Buddhism again, sorry, but it goes for every spiritual practice. When you hear it, you know, and you see whoever is practicing it, you have what is called admiring faith. You look at them and think, wow, you know, they're really fantastic. They're wonderful. Then, no, that's inspiring faith, is it? Then all of a sudden you start to understand, maybe I want to become like them. Because especially if it's meditation and all this, you don't need a healthy body to meditate, by the way. It helps, definitely, but if it's not totally healthy, you sit in a chair instead of sitting on the floor, you lie down, whatever, you know, to train the mind to be aware. You don't have to be beautiful, you don't need university diplomas, you need patience and diligence, that's what you need. And this can also be developed. Okay, so you have admiring faith. You think, oh, I want to be like them. And then the faith that comes out of experience, that's the third one. That comes when you start practicing, that you get trust and faith out of experience. And it talks about your Buddha nature. To have faith and trust in your own goodness that you can develop it. That is a very positive attitude. And you need this for anything you want to learn. You need to have trust that you have the ability to do it. Otherwise, it's wasted time. So, of course, if it's, you know, the example of my dad taking me up to the top of the mountain to show me how it is when you can do it, to get my attachment for pleasure going and running, so that as quickly as possible I wanted to learn that. That's perfect, yeah? Or as you said also with the yoga, you try to, with supports, you try to give people, to put them into the right posture so that they know how it is, but then you take away the supports. I think very good example also, that we start to have some experience. This is why Lama Yeshe also, when he started teaching with hippies who were used to drugs and had their minds go in all kinds of states, he very quickly taught them tantric meditations that now nobody is teaching beginners that anymore, because now you're too reasonable, you're too much in your head, you're too logic and you're too pragmatic to do these things. Yeah? There are a few people who still understand what this is all about. Not so many. Yeah? Dani is one of them. Right. So it's like, not so many really understand what these meditations want to give you the feeling of openness and freedom, that you experience it without drugs. And he understood that these hippies, they would be able to do it because they're used to drugs. So they're not so, I only believe what I can touch and what I see. Yeah? So the faith that comes out of conviction you will only have if you start practicing. Otherwise, yeah. But you need the one at the beginning, the kind of the faith that is inspired by somebody, and then the admiration, I want to also go there. Second one is shame and embarrassment. Positive mental factors. Can you believe it? Okay, we also had to change these words into integrity and consideration for others. Now, the explanation why it's shame and embarrassment, why they're two different ones, is integrity or shame is you would never do it. Like you would never kill a human because you would feel so bad, right? You would be ashamed. Like you have values and you keep them because if you don't keep them, you feel bad. That is in the philosophical terms is considered as when you fall from your values, it's shame. And it's a good mental factor because it makes you come back up again. It makes you to do something about it. Right? Embarrassment, that comes very close to consideration for others. You don't do things when others see you. You see what I mean? Like for example, when you're alone and you have wind in your stomach, you let the wind go when you are alone. I don't think anybody is suppressing that when you are alone. Or do we have somebody that out of consideration for yourself, you're not farting when you need to fart in clear words if you don't understand what I'm talking about. So there's certain things we don't do out of consideration for others. And this is what we have to learn also. Yeah? So both of them are mental factors that are helpful for your path to enlightenment. And then, now it's already getting difficult. Then if flexibility is there, pliancy I think it's called, yeah? Pliancy, then non-attachment, non-aversion, non-ignorance. We need to have a mind that is free. Like we have mind states when you do something, yeah? And you're fully there, you're fully aware, especially when you are in awareness. There's no attachment, like, strong attachment, there's no aversion. And maybe there's even non-ignorance, knowing that this thing that I'm holding now is a dependent arising, it doesn't exist from its own side, it is impermanent, it has the function of ringing the gong, it doesn't belong to me, and these kind of things. That would be when we see things as they are, especially when I not just through the intellect, but I understand what I'm holding here is impermanent. And it came together through causes and conditions. It is empty of inherent existence. So already now we can develop that mind state of non-ignorance. Yeah? And you'll be surprised there is no love there is no compassion there in these 11 mental states. The others I forgot, I'll have to look it up. I shouldn't have gone there, so there you see that I don't have access to my brain anymore completely. I'm not joking. Okay, so, but when there's not attachment and when there's not, with non-attachment, non-aversion, and non-ignorance, then you are aware because you are, for example, with your mind states. No, coming back to this thing, feel it so that you can heal it. Has anybody ever done that? Really having the courage to stay with your difficult emotions, or even with your good ones also, It's good to be aware of, wow, I feel so open. Just to notice it, not to grasp at it, but just to notice it. What happens when you watch them?
You change.
I don't know where, I don't even know where it came from there.
You change.
It changes, exactly. But when we sit here with our hurt and with our guilt and with our I don't get what I want, blah blah blah, does that change? If we don't watch it, if we are inside it, yeah, exactly. You didn't see him, he made a fist. It's as solid as a brick. And then there is ignorance. There's wrong view. This will never pass. This will never go away. Because we keep feeding them with this story, again and again and again. But you cannot forget when somebody has harmed you, but you can forgive. And if you are able to forgive somebody that has harmed you, and this is why you have to start small, all of a sudden it is like chains bursting in your heart. But just, getting very tense and very stressed about wanting to do it, that's not going to do the trick. It's really like oil in your cloth. You have to go again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Wash it and still something remaining, and then the thoughts come back again. It's like putting more oil on the same spot. I wonder if it's really going, or maybe I'll put some more, on it. Second arrow, anybody knows the second arrow of the Buddha, right? It's like the first arrow, he says, the pain from the first arrow, that pain you have, because being shot. The second arrow, you shoot it. Because you pick up the arrow, that works well. You pick up the arrow and say, look, they sent, the arrow is here, right? It's already out. Situation finished. They shot this arrow at me, and look, it is poisonous. And then it's like, wow, I wonder if it hurts. Yes, it hurts. Oh, I have to try again. Yes, it hurts. Like this, This is the second arrow that we do ourselves. By not knowing about karma, by not knowing about emptiness, by not knowing the suffering of the other person also. By kind of having fantasies that they do it on purpose, that they could have control over themselves of not doing it. So that is what we're doing. So antidotes that we can already train now, so that it becomes the immune system for the mind, is again and again and again and again to repeat very simple phrases. To develop love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And you can add, these are the official ones. It's called the 4 immeasurables. But you can add, if you want to have more diligence, add this. May I be more courageous? May I have more patience? Or make the wish for somebody else. It's okay. Yeah? But in general, we keep to these 4 kind of official ones. So I have a text here. I'm not sure, but I think it's from Thich Nhat Hanh. It sounds like Thich Nhat Hanh was very, very beautiful in these 4 immeasurables. So the first one is a short, kind of shortening. I can send it to you if you want. So the first one is kind of just all 4 together, and so that we know what it is. So he talks to his son, Rahula, and he's, I know Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddha, okay? So, Rahula, practice loving kindness to overcome anger. Loving kindness has the capacity to bring happiness to others without demanding anything in return. Practice compassion to overcome cruelty. So these are the antidotes to these minds. These minds, cruelty and anger is not going away. You need antidotes. So practice compassion to overcome cruelty. Compassion has the capacity to remove the suffering of others without expecting anything in return. Oh, if we would just have the grace to not to expect all the time, if we finally get our act together and start to be a bit kind when it doesn't come naturally, then we feel very noble, isn't it, when it doesn't come natural. And we have to make an effort to be kind. No? Yeah. Look at me. If we would go like this, then we would see how ridiculous we are. Look at me. I'm so kind to this unkind person. without expecting anything